Hello everyone. Allow me to begin my presentation with a lovely quote by John Dewey. He said that if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. So the saying somehow tells us that education continues to reform, so do we as teachers. I am going to present my mini research with the title Improving Students' Narrative Writing Skills through Toontastic Animation-Based Digital Storytelling. So hello, briefly about myself as the presenter. I am teacher Nik Nur Hanim Ayuni binti Baharom, 32 years old. I am an English teacher at SMK Datuk Ismail, Pasir Putih, Kelantan. I am currently in my 7th year of my service, and I am a TESOL degree holder at IPGM, Darul Aman and University of Portsmouth. As much as I love teaching, I also love traveling. The 4 aspects to be covered in this research are introduction, methodology, results and discussion, and it will be concluded at the end of the presentation. As for the introduction, I will highlight why is my research significant. So narrative writing is one of the skills taught in CFR aligned curriculum. And as of 2021, the Ministry of Education had revamped the writing assessment where students are required to write cohesively. Before this, students can write about 350 words in their essays. Now the format has limited the length to 200 to 250 words. So it becomes quite a concern among teachers to ensure that students are able to write cohesively, especially in narrative writing. The features of effective narrative writing, based on what is being stated by Hammer and Habibi, it includes the idea, appropriate structure, as well as appropriate language use. The problems surrounding the teaching of narrative writing include students have insufficient amount of practice and they also feel unmotivated to write. And what are the causes of these problems? These include monotonous lecturing method and boring writing tasks. And the situation is even more terrible when it comes to PDPR context because there's a poor teacher-students attention and there's less interactive communication via online. So the initiative that can be taken is teachers need to explore new learning medias that can help with students' engagement in narrative writing. So in finding the solutions to the mentioned problems, this research tries to experiment with one app which is called Toontastic application, and we want to investigate if that particular app can help to improve students' skill and motivation in narrative writing. And some of the questions that we want to answer are: does Toontastic animation-based digital storytelling increase students' narrative writing task submission rate, improve the quality of their writing, and also we want to know what are the perception of the students when they did the activity using this app. Now moving on to the methodology of this research. The sample for this research are 45 Form 3 students from my school. One class 3 imtiaz had become the experimental group and the other one is the control group. So for the lesson, there are 3 online lessons via Google Meet, and every lesson took about 1 hour to be completed. The only difference between these 2 groups are the final lesson where the experimental group will be introduced with Toontastic application and drafting, whereas for the control group, their third lesson is writing practice and drafting. So there's no intervention of the Toontastic application for them. Basically, the 2 groups are assigned with the same task, they need to write a narrative essay with 120 to 150 words using the first sentence in the question. But for the experimental group, from that essay, they need to produce a narration of their writing through Toontastic animation. And both groups are required to submit both the draft and the complete essay. Here are some of the screenshots of the lesson which I carried out, and I have taught them about the basic structure of narrative writing. And these are the lessons for the experimental group, where I introduced them with the Toontastic application. In order to answer the question whether or not the use of this app can help improve students' writing, we have collected drafts and essays from 9 students from the experimental group and 9 students from the control group. And how do we actually assess the draft? Okay, we within the panel of SMK Datuk Ismail, we have developed one draft writing scale consisting of 5 levels, and this scale is based on CFR band descriptors, and we focus on the aspect of content and plot structure alone. And for the complete essay, we use CFR writing assessment rubric, and the aspects covered are content, communicative achievement, and organization. The band score range is from 1 to 5. As you can see in the table, there are 18 students, and the 9 students from each class whose writings were assessed are among the advanced level, intermediate, and also low proficiency level. So since my school does not stream the classes, the proficiency range of the students in both groups are quite similar. Now let's move to the results and discussion. If you are not so familiar with the Toontastic application, so here are the example of my students' work. It provides animation, the characters, the setting of places. All the students have to do is just prepare the story, narrate, and they can move the characters. Okay, when it comes to task submission rate, you can see it's very obvious that the task submission rate for experimental group is much higher compared to the control group with 91% to 61%. And this somehow reflects that integration of Toontastic animation tasks had enhanced the students' motivation to complete the essay. And somehow the task had the writing task itself had been refocused towards digital storytelling. So they find that their writing is much more meaningful rather than submitting to the teacher alone. The integration of Toontastic application also has the positive impact on students' drafting skills, because as you can see, all 9 drafts submitted by the students from experimental group had achieved level 5, while for the drafts among the students in the control group, only 1 student achieved level 5. Okay, so students' understanding is further strengthened by the in-app explanation that coincides with the previous drafting lesson. Moreover, the selection of characters and also the visually appealing setting of plays had made the process of writing become easier for them. The results about essay writing competency is also in favor of the use of Toontastic application. Based on the analysis of their writing, 5 out of 9 students in experimental group achieved band 5, while the highest band achieved by students in the control group is only band 4. So students were able to produce better quality of writing with vivid descriptions of characters, settings, and their writing is obviously more organized And this can be related to the features of the application, that it supports the automation of workflow. And when they use the application, they also understand better in terms of how a story progresses. From the analysis of the writings submitted by the students from the control group, there's a lacking of clarity and elaboration, and some of the essays are also left unresolved and lacking of interest value. So this reflects that their skills are still not developed sufficiently. I also have interviewed 9 students from the experimental group who involved in the research, and 9 of them responded positively about the activity using Toontastic application. They used the positive adjectives like fun, easy, enjoyable, and convenient. And those who struggled before in mapping out their story plots, they found that this application had helped them in solving the problem. And it also it gives them clear idea about their story. And interestingly, the students were also encouraged to upgrade the standard of their writing, because they were aware that their writing is going to be narrated in the animation video. So the implementation of animation tasks provides balanced attention for both product and the process of writing itself. Okay, now we have come to the conclusion of the research. Toontastic animation generally had a positive impact on students' motivation to submit their writing within the limitation of learning online. And also students were able to produce better quality of narrative writing, okay, with vivid descriptions of characters, of the setting of places, and the events are also well organized. And Toontastic application features develop more ideas and creativity in their writing, and therefore, with all the positive impacts on learning, it is highly recommended for teachers to use this application as a digital tool in teaching narrative writing. That's all from me. I hope that this research will be beneficial to all the teachers out there. Thank you very much.